We got some NBA news. Damian Lillard's going back to the Blazers, and Bradley Beal is going to the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's start off with Damian Lillard going back to Portland on a 3-year, $42 million deal with a no-trade clause. First of all, it's cool. Like, it's just cool. Dame is going to be able to recover from his torn Achilles in Portland, back home, the place he made his name, and then join a team that is actually pretty solid. Like, the Blazers had a top 5 defensive rating the second half of last season after the All-Star break. They had what looks like a really good draft getting Yang Hansen, who's been just awesome in Summer League. We'll have a lot more Summer League talk next week as well. But you look at Portland, they trade Dame, they get Drew Holiday, they get Kamara, they get picks, and then they trade Drew Holiday to Boston. They get Time Lord, Malcolm Brogdon, more assets. Those assets led to Denny Avdia. And now they have Dame, Andrew, and Denny, and Williams, and Kamara, and many, many first on top of that. So it's kind of like crazy how everything's kind of come full circle here ever since the Dame trade. Dame finds out the grass isn't always greener. The Blazers draft Scoot. You know, he has not exactly panned out quite yet to replace Damian Lillard, but they have this team that feels like it makes sense, and they're just missing that point guard. And so maybe Scoot in year 3, mentored by Dame, has a breakout year. Maybe not. Maybe Damian Lillard comes back healthy, and now he's joining a team with Drew Holiday and Kamara and Denny on the defensive end. And once Dame's back, maybe it's Jeremy Grant sticks around, maybe Rupert or Murray ascends. And like, then you look at the team and it makes sense. Like, this is the type of team Damian Lillard would want to be built around, with all these versatile defensive players, spot-up shooters, secondary ball handlers, and then Yang and Klingon in the front court together. That still remains the thing that I'm most fascinated to see what Portland does. Are we going to see one of those guys come out with a reliable jumper? Yeah, Yang probably being the more likely one. Or are we going to see a situation where Portland is like turning back the clock to the 90s or the 2000s with twin towers, 2 interior bigs posting up on either elbow? I just look forward to seeing how the Blazers build this out. And the fact Dame's going back, you know, maybe it had to happen this way for Dame, to find out the grass isn't always greener. He goes to Milwaukee. You feel like it's a championship situation. It's not. You wanted to go to Miami. That team has gone nowhere and is going nowhere. And then you find your way back in Portland after a traumatizing injury. And who knows? Like, maybe this ends up an amazing story. Maybe the Blazers become contenders. 6-man Damian Lillard. How cool would that be? No matter how it plays out, the Blazers, as interesting as they all already were, have become even more interesting now with Damian Lillard. We also have Bradley Beal, who was officially bought out by the Phoenix Suns. He gave back some money, and then he promptly immediately signed with the Los Angeles Clippers, as a lot of people expected. Beal going to the Clippers, in my opinion, just is a clear upgrade over Norm Powell. Now, I posted that on social media earlier in the week once the news became official. A lot of people are like, no way. Powell was a borderline all-star last year, and that's true. That's true. But it was also an outlier year for Norm Powell. And Bradley Beal, despite being in a crap situation in Phoenix last year, still shot 40.4% on catch and shoot threes. The year prior to that, shot 44.9% on catch and shoot threes. He's an elite shooter off the catch. He's an effective guy off the dribble from 3 and from mid-range. This year, he shot 47.7% on pull-up 2-pointers. So, in my opinion, Beal is better than Norm Powell, in part because of not just the shooting, because of the off-the-dribble ability, his ability to get to the basket. I just think he's a higher ceiling player overall. What's undeniable, though, is that Bradley Beal plus John Collins is better than Norm Powell. That's what this deal makes official here, that the Clippers did indeed completely upgrade their roster this year. They addressed their concerns. Think about what OKC did a year ago. We found out a year ago OKC needed another defender. They go and get Alex Caruso. We found out they needed another rebounder, a true big man. They go and get Isaiah Hartenstein. The OKC Thunder go and win the NBA Finals. Now, that team's different. They're young. The Clippers are old. But with the Clippers, what were their areas of need? They needed more front court versatility above everything else. So they signed Brook Lopez, who provides more drop coverage behind Zubac, and he can space the floor, so they get a different look. They trade Powell for John Collins. That provides a lob threat for James Harden, a little bit more flexibility with how he can switch on the perimeter. He's not a lockdown guy, but he's at least somebody that can provide that as an option. And then they get Beal to replace those Powell minutes. And to me, like, the Clippers feel like on paper, a complete roster. On paper is doing a lot of work here because everybody and their mother knows Kawhi Leonard and his health cannot be trusted. Beal is, he's played 53 games 2 years in a row. That's one reason why he's been such a bummer for Phoenix the last 2 years, is because of his lack of availability. And so now you put him in a situation with a bunch of old guys, and like maybe they sign Chris Paul next, another old dude, and James Harden's old. Like, there's no real confidence in the Clippers to ever be anything. But on paper, the team got better. They addressed their number one need, and this is a team that on paper, maybe they're turning into something. And at a minimum, I feel like the Clippers are one of the winners of this offseason with what they did with Collins, with Lopez, and with Beal. What we're going to find out, of course, is can these guys actually stay healthy for April, May, and June, and come through in clutch situations, as James Harden will have to prove. Well, that's a long ways from now. They still could make more changes. We'll find out about that in the days or weeks to come.